Right, what I want to show you today is a short video of how to repair a particle board kitchen unit when the hinge screws are basically pulled out of the particle board. This is quite a difficult thing to repair normally. When it's quite minor you can do it with bits of matchsticks, etc., or usually fillers, etc., don't work because they just pull out again. But this is one I sort of damaged earlier, just to show you what I mean. It's not the easiest thing in the world to repair, although it would seem so. What we're using today is this jig. It's a HingeFix jig. It allows you to repair these quite easily. Jig's quite cheap, only £29. Might seem expensive, but a new carcass will cost you that, even on a 500mm. So what you get with the jig, I'll just show you. I can turn this round a little bit. You have to excuse me, I'm not really a Steven Spielberg or anybody like that. So you get some wooden plugs. These will allow you to repair extensive damage up to 20mm wide. Diameter, I should say. Then you get some nylon inserts, 11mm and 13mm depending on your carcass thickness. So this is about a 15mm carcass, so I'd use the 11mm. If it was an 18mm carcass, which tends to be a little bit more expensive, you can use the 13mm. Now, you also get this jig. You get two Forstner bits, a 20mm and a 10mm. These are basically for drilling the holes out for the inserts. 10mm is for the nylon inserts, the 20mm is for the wooden plug, followed by the nylon insert. You get a jig as so. This is put this together with these knobs. I'll just put one in for the time being just to give you an idea. And this basically sticks on with double-sided tape. You line these up with the relative holes or the centre, stick it on, and away you go drilling. Once you've drilled the holes out, one thing I never mentioned is you get a small stop for the Forstner bit. That allows you not to drill too deep. You get the wrench for that, and you also get a small extension. These go onto your Forstner bits. It goes into your drill. It means that you don't have to have your drill hanging on the Forstner bit basically. But when I show you how it's done, you'll see that a little bit more. Okay. Okay, when you're repairing it, the first thing you have to do basically is get all the grease off this area. Kitchen units tend to get a bit of a grease build-up, so degrease it with a solvent or a bit of detergent and water. As long as you let it dry thoroughly afterwards, it'll be okay. Then you have to mark the centre line of one of these holes onto the front here. This is quite easily done normally because you can see the hole and you get a pretty good idea where it is. If you can't, you can measure backwards from the door, from the centre line of the hinges, allowing for the overlaps. You get the lines there, but I'll just do it from the hole because I can see the centres. So if you just mark it there, you can use the jig just to get a line. Then just transfer it onto the front, like so. Okay. You then have to put a bit of double-sided tape onto the jig, like so, and then align this with the relevant hole. It's quite obvious really which you do, like so. Remove the double-sided tape, if you can. The backing off it, I should say, which I can never do, so I've got no nails. There you go. Then you align this. Obviously you don't want the back of the tape against it immediately, so put it at an angle like so, and then line it up. It's a bit difficult for me actually with the camera being in the way. I'll do the best I can. Right, that's pushed into place now. Put that firmly so it can't move, but when you drill you're best keeping your hand on it anyhow, just to give it a little bit more immobility, if that's the right word. Right, what I've done here is I've zeroed the forcing a bit in the jig. I haven't shown you doing it because it's quite easy to do from the instructions, but because of the camera angles etc I'm getting in my own way whilst I'm doing it, so it's a bit awkward to do. But anyhow, you put the forcing bit in as so, and you put it into place. I mean, there is markings on the jig to show you which hole you're drilling, but it's pretty obvious when you're doing it which one it is. If you don't know which one it is, then you probably shouldn't be handling a drill. You should be a politician or something. Let's get the other one. Right, there you go. Put the other knob on. That was a 10mm forcing bit, by the way, because that's the one you want to be drilling with first. Then you put the drill bit into the battery drill. You want this at quite a low speed actually, these don't want to be going in too quickly. Obviously you put it on like so. You notice that there's no bits can fall out, the cutting edge is totally enclosed, so it's quite safe. So if you remove that, so, God, this is difficult with the drill being in the camera in the way, but there's one drill drilled, and reline it 180 degrees for the other hole. This is a lot easier, by the way, normally when you're working in a kitchen, because you don't, like I say, you don't have the camera in the way, which is causing me a little bit of difficulty, but I'll manage. Right, that's lined up for the other hole. Second hole drill. I can remove this now. Right, now I have the two 10mm holes. These are actually quite adequate at the moment for the damage because they've just about drilled out all the damaged area. But if the damage is extensive and you need to put a plug in, then you need to drill it out to 20mm. I wouldn't normally need to do this, but I will show you how it's done anyhow. So the first thing you do is remove the stop from the 10mm, like so. I'll just do one of the holes, I won't do them both, I'll just do the top one. Then you put the 20mm forcing bit in. You can zero it with the existing hole in this case because the hole is smaller than the 20mm bit, so the reason you have to zero it is because obviously you can't put it against the point, otherwise you'd get about a 2mm shallower hole than you wanted. Okay, so the point basically has to go into the hole and the cutting edge has to sit onto a flat. So I'll just clean those bits away. Put that back in. Screw them back on. But this time I'm going to be putting a wooden plug in, so I'll be zeroing it with one of the wooden plugs. One of these. Like I say, these will cover damage up to 20mm, which is usually the most damage you'll ever get. So you make sure the force bit is fully on the bottom of its trowel. Put that on, slide that up. So you want a bit of paper on as well actually. That just allows for the, well it's in the instructions what it's doing, it's been hard to explain. But actually force bits don't cut as deep as the actual edge, they have a slight recess in. So that the perimeter cuts first and then the inner section cuts afterwards, so you get a cleaner cut. So I'll just tighten that up there. Know that now. Just nip it up fully. Put the fastener bit back on. Sorry, get the drill out again. And I'll drill this one out. There you go. I'll remove this. Don't know why I removed that, I could just pull the jig straight off, but there you go. Remove the jig. And there you have it. Now you've got a 20mm hole for the plug and a 10mm hole for the nylon insert. I'll just clean up a bit around here and then I'll show you what I do after that. Okay, what I'm going to do now, just put a bit of white glue in the hole, making sure you get it in the base of the hole as well, because it's quite important that the plug not only sticks to the sides, it wants to be sticking to the bottom just as much, because it gets a lot of its strength on that part. If you just put it on the edges only, when you tighten it up it can tend to pull away from the bottom, which you don't really want. I'll put plenty in as well. You need to put plenty in because particle board doesn't finish really smoothly and acts as a bit of a filler in a way, as much as an adhesive. Okay, there you go. Push the insert in. Make sure it's flush as well. It has to be flush with the surface. Really, it's worth putting it in before you remove the jig actually, if you're not used to doing it. And then, excuse me. And then you can ensure that it's deep enough. If it's not, then you can drill it a little bit deeper. But that now is in, and I'll allow it to dry, and then I'll show you the inserts being put in. Okay. Okay, I'll give that a couple of minutes. You should probably give it about an hour at least, but I'm a bit impatient, so I'll put the bottom one in first, the bottom insert. It may be a bit difficult because I have no support for the unit, so it's a little bit more difficult than it would be normally. So that's one insert in. You could put these in with glue actually, although I haven't. It's probably better to put white glue in the hole before you do it. It does give a stronger joint, but I find that they're adequate without the glue. But if you want to be doubly safe, put glue on. The problem with doing this a bit early is when I tighten them, it might turn the insert as well, but it should be okay. This is because I've got no support at the back of the unit. There you go, easy as that, and you've got a pretty permanent joint. Another problem with banging it in while the glue's still wet is you can get a bit of a hydraulic effect, and the glue can actually start forcing the plug back out, which is another reason to let it dry thoroughly. But I think I've done it that many times now I can tend to keep it in. Right then, you can actually screw the hinge plate back on. I've left the top one on because I hadn't broken that one, although if the hinge had broken off, the door had broken off totally, then It's the same, you do the same thing basically, top and bottom. There you go, and I can assure you that's stronger than the original joint was. You can actually just see the, if you look very carefully on a 20mm, some hinge plates cover it, some don't, but I'll move the camera and show you. That joint is as good as invisible. Okay. Okay, I'll fit the door back on for you now. It's going to be a bit tricky when you're on your own, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. There you go, perfect, just needs realigning a little bit. Other than that, perfectly good joint. I'll just remove the camera off the tripod and show you it a bit closer. Excuse me. There's the bottom one that I've repaired, and there's the top one, basically as it was. But even removing that door once has actually almost damaged them screw holes in the particle board. Shows how fragile they are. Just out of interest, I've been fitting kitchens for quite a long time, and this is the only permanent method I've ever found of repairing the hinges.